Hi, I'm Hilary Michelson. I'm president of the Robert F. Furchgott Society. And on behalf of myself and Dr. Danny Rosenbaum, who's our vice president, and Rose Jackman, who's our executive director, I am so pleased to welcome everyone to what's turning out to be sort of the opening ceremony of our 20th anniversary celebration of Dr. Furchgott receiving the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. A little bit of history. Dr. Furchgott arrived at Downstate in 1956 and spent his next 40-plus years here just pursuing his research. About 20 years into his tenure here, in May of 1978, Dr. Furchgott's technician made an error in preparing the tissue for research. And it was Dr. Furchgott's brilliant insight into looking at that error, that technical error, and instead of being frustrated like most normal people, he realized that it was an opportunity. And that error changed the direction of Dr. Furchgott's research. And 20 years later, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for his discovery of nitric oxide as a signaling molecule in the cardiovascular system. So, lesson to us all. Things that go wrong are also opportunities for growth. And I think Dr. Furchgott's life is a great example of that. We created this gallery here, so it's a bit of a retrospective look at Dr. Furchgott's life and his achievements. I think it is just a sampling, and the breadth of it is just enormous as it stands. I wanted to I encourage everybody to take a walk through because it really does give you a little bit of a sense of the extent of the impact of Dr. Furchgott's research. I wanted to thank several people who were instrumental in developing the gallery. First of all, obviously the President's Office, who's been unwaveringly supportive of all of our efforts. Dr. Bob Wong in the Department of Physiology and Pharmacology, who helped underwrite the cost of putting the gallery together. I'm trying to think, Rose Jackman. I know I'm going to forget people. Rose Jackman, our executive director, who I'm going to be thanking, I think, almost every time I get up and speak for all of her various roles in putting together all of the celebratory activities. We had John Z. from Biomedical Illustrations. We had the photographers, Marcos. So we have got Dr. Diana Dow-Edwards, who oversaw the gallery. Dr. Cheryl Marriott, our archivist, who helped put together some of the displays. Numerous people, and I'm sure Kachi, who's the architect who helped with the hanging system and everything. We could not have done it without this kind of effort from everyone, and I really appreciate that. And lastly, I just want to thank all of you. Part of the mission of the Furchgott Society is to provide grants and awards to promising young investigators who are affiliated with Downstate. And we sponsor talks, we sponsor a visiting professorship. We are a society that brings in internationally recognized Nobel laureates to come and interact with our family, to have our Downstate family, to have roundtable discussions and seminars. And it really is, I think, a rewarding experience, an enriching experience for the entire Downstate community. And we could not do that without the continued support of our members, our society members, and also the Furchgott family, represented today by Dr. Furchgott's daughters, Susan and Jane, and Susan's husband, Thomas, somewhere out there as well. Their continued support and devotion to our institution has really helped provide the society with the impetus to keep moving forward. And without further ado, I do want to introduce our president, Dr. Wayne Riley, president of Downstate, SUNY Downstate, who actually conceived of this whole idea of having the 20th anniversary celebration of Dr. Furchgott's Nobel, receiving the Nobel. And it's without his enthusiasm and continued support for the Furchgott Society and for the impact that Dr. Furchgott has had on our campus. I think without his continued support, we wouldn't be able to move forward, and we certainly would not have been able to have the permanent display of the Nobel installed today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming out for this very special occasion in the life of this great institution. And I will take with pride the fact that we're having this great celebration, because I began my tenure on April 3rd, at 2017 as the president. And it was within the first 2 weeks that it struck me, my gosh, we had a distinguished faculty member here at Downstate who was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine. So I reached out to Ms. Jackman. I said, I want to see it. And she has it, at that time she had it under lock and key in a safe, and it was very secure. And she brought it down to my office. And I got to hold the Nobel Prize. Remember that, Rose? Yes, I remember. And I remember sending pictures all over the country. Look, I'm holding a Nobel Prize that Dr. Furchgott was awarded in 1998 for his great work. And for our high school students, welcome. I know some of this is a little bit confusing to you, but let me put it in context. For the high school students, you've all heard of MVP awards, right? You've heard of Oscar awards and Grammys and Emmys, right? Well, the Nobel Prize is that for science. That's how big it is. When you get a Nobel Prize, it's up there with other major awards, but it's for men and women who do great work in science. And that's why we're so proud that Dr. Furchgott was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1998 for the work he did in this building. And the drugs that he created through his work have been just so impactful in improving people's lives. So that's why I thought it was most important that as an institution, we recognize this great anniversary, this great man who touched so many people in his lab, obviously his two great daughters, Jane and Susan, and the other members of the Furchgott family. And you know, I hear stories all the time about Dr. Furchgott, what a wonderful, caring man he was, and how he was interested in young people following him into science and to the health professions, and how he gave back. And to me, that's just equally reflective of the greatness of the man, in addition to the fact that he was one of the world's greatest scientists for eons before us. So this is a very special day. And I want everybody to take an opportunity, if not today, come back and look at some of the wonderful things that were so impressive to Dr. Furchgott, the awards he was awarded in addition to the Nobel Prize. He had several other awards, but obviously the Nobel Prize is the highest. But you can see some of the instruments he used in his laboratory, and look at some of the other things that mean so much and really tell the story of the greatness of the man and the greatness of his contributions to science and medicine. So again, on behalf of all of us who are privileged, I want to salute Dr. Michelson for her outstanding leadership of the Furchgott Society. And let's give Dr. Michelson a round. And none of this, I can assure you, none of this would have been possible had it not been for the executive director of the Furchgott Society, Ms. Rose Jackman, who worked very closely with Dr. Furchgott all those years. Let's give Rose a round. So with that, I think we're ready to unveil. Is that right, Rose?
Yes, that's correct.
Good. So we'll ask Susan and Jane to accompany me. And this will be a permanent display of the Nobel Prize, because I wanted it here so that our visitors, our students, our faculty on a daily basis walk past this great award and be reminded of our noble calling to pursue discoveries and take care of communities and improve the world. So that's why this will be a permanent display for hopefully many years to come.